President Biden expressed support for a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas on Monday during a call with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel. In a readout of Mr. Biden's call, White House officials said the president expressed his support for a ceasefire and discussed U.S. engagement with Egypt and other partners towards that end. The statement fell short of an immediate demand for an end to Israel's bombing campaign in Gaza, which has been met with rocket fire by Hamas from Gaza into Israel. The White House also said Mr. Biden reiterated his firm support for Israel's right to defend itself against indiscriminate rocket attacks. The Biden administration had previously avoided the use of the term ceasefire, with top officials like Secretary of State Antony J. Blinken talking instead about the need for a sustainable calm and others talking about the need for restraint. While a ceasefire would be welcomed by the White House, Mr. Netanyahu has in recent days made clear that he intended to continue bombing until Israel has destroyed Hamas's stockpile of rockets, launchers, and the tunnels from which Hamas fighters are operating. The directive is to continue striking at the terrorist targets, Mr. Netanyahu said on Monday, after meeting with Israeli security officials. We will continue to take whatever action necessary in order to restore quiet and security for all the residents of Israel. By late Monday, the Israeli bombardment had killed 212 people in Gaza, and Hamas rockets had killed at least 10 in Israel. Hamas had fired almost as many rockets in 8 days, 3,350, the Israeli military said, as it did in the 50-day war the two sides fought in 2014. So far, Israel has resisted efforts by Egypt, Qatar and the United States to broker a ceasefire. And Hamas has continued its rocket fire into Israel. In his conversations with Mideast leaders, Mr. Biden has tried to move the United States to a more neutral role as a peacemaker after 4 years of former President Donald J. Trump favoring Israel. On Saturday, the White House pointed to Mr. Biden's recent decision to resume assistance to the Palestinian people, including economic and humanitarian assistance to benefit Palestinians in the West Bank and Gaza, and renewed his call for a negotiated two-state solution as the best path to reach a just and lasting resolution. 27 Democratic senators and 2 independents who caucus with Democrats, a majority of Mr. Biden's party in the Senate, signed a letter led by Senator Jon Ossoff of Georgia on Sunday calling for an immediate ceasefire. On Monday, the White House press secretary, Jen Psaki, told reporters that the administration would not reveal all the details of Mr. Biden's communications with leaders in the conflict. Our approach is through quiet, intensive diplomacy, she said. That is how we feel we can be most effective. As the grinding and increasingly bloody conflict between Israel and Hamas militants moved into the second week, the violence showed no signs of abating as Israel pounded targets in Gaza overnight and Hamas continued to unleash a barrage of rockets at towns across southern Israel. Diplomatic efforts appeared stalled as the level of destruction was quickly escalating to the kind of violence not seen since the last major conflict in 2014. That conflict, with a 7-week invasion of Gaza by Israel and Hamas rocket fire, ultimately claimed 2,200 lives, rendered large areas of the Gaza Strip uninhabitable, and paralyzed Israel's south.